Welcome back, Iron investors, to another epic episode, Iron Capital Talks, the podcast where we aim to interview C-level executives, founders, real builders in the space, top managers. Today, the conversation is with the general manager of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, Alex Chehade. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much for having me, Danny.
How are you doing? How has it been lately?
Busy with Binance and busy with the markets. I think we've seen a little bit of a pump. We've seen a little bit more allocation further down the curve. So trading volumes are up. So yeah, we're super busy.
Absolutely. But not only with this, but we all know what happened with your CEO, right, with CZ. The situation is quite challenging, right? He's kept in the United States. He's facing a tough situation out there. What's going on at the company level? What's exactly the situation on Binance right now?
So we're at a transition phase now. I mean, CZ was obviously the main driver, the founder, the leader of the company, and now he's transitioning out. So that's a big overhaul for the company. But we've been building for this for a while. We've built and hired great professionals, and Richard's come in, and we think that Richard is absolutely the right person to lead us forward. The alignment of the company is still the same. It's a user focus, but we have Richard at the helm who has exchange experience, regulatory experience, crypto experience, and the 30 years of his financial career. We will look to leverage that. And so, we've made great strides of increasing the financial compliance of the company. We have the largest crypto compliance department, bar none. I think there's 300 people just in transaction monitoring. So the scale that we do these things is already outweighing all our competitors. And we understand that we need to do this in order to create a safe environment for our customers.
I want to ask you one thing, because definitely the game behind the doors is with high intensity. So when you saw kind of moves, what happened with SBF, right, back in the time, and the FTX case, right, it was that one like a signal with what might happen with CZ as well in the near future. Like, okay, if these guys can play like this, maybe I'm the next one. It was interpreted like this.
Not so much. I mean, with FTX, there was the misuse of client funds, which just hasn't been the case with Binance. We have a SAFU fund as well, so that's in addition. So our funds, our user funds, are well protected. And then after FTX, not just us, but the industry decided, we need to sort of have proof of reserves. And so, computationally now users can check that their assets are within this Merkle tree of assets, which gives them the clarity. You don't get that in traditional finance. This is one of the things that's much better than some of the traditional financial world that's very opaque. With blockchain, it's transparency. And, financial inclusion, transparency are the core tenets of what we're looking to do with this innovative technology.
So you're saying that those kind of moves, when CZ just stepped down, it was well prepared way before then. It's not just a matter of this case, right? Around the case right now. It's just the company is going to be in this direction from now on.
Yes, definitely it's a transitional period, and it's transition which we're welcoming. But as the leader, as the leader of this industry, we need to have succession management. It needs to be well prepared. It can't just rest on one person. So you need a strong team, and that's what we've been building across all the business functions. A strong team to lead us forward, and so hopefully for the next wave of innovation, we will continue to be that leader.
Absolutely. I mean, like, even for the company who is like, let's say, $1 million company, right, is relying on one person only, on one manager only, is a high risk business, right? I just don't want to imagine the scale of the Binance. Obviously, that's not going to work if it's just a CZ in place everywhere, and that's not the case at the number of employees behind. But what was the vibe, the impact internally in the company, like knowing that your CEO is just facing those kind of challenges there? It was people. They were afraid. They were in this
No, I
loop
think
of questioning the situation, or
no, I think with the transition been well planned and well prepared. We've been moving in that manner for a couple of years now, and so it was just the final stage. I don't think that there was any sort of surprise, and so yeah, we just move forward. We've got great compliance controls. Each of the regulated entities, will have a risk register like this, and so you make sure that there is no key person risk. So that's mitigated. And then you have professionals that have worked in many financial services companies before that have come in, and yeah, they identify it's moved much further away from sort of startup vibes with these risks, and now we're a global company, a global leader, and yeah, we're ready to move forward.
yeah, I mean, once you land on the Binance, right, on the website, it's is way more than exchange. Like you can find so many products right now, and one of them is the educational part. You have an academy there where you want to put out there in front of people to land in the way safer way, right, in this cryptocurrency investments game.
Yeah.
Like what do you think in your perspective is the right way for these people to come in our industry? Through a centralized exchange where actually your fund is not really yours, right? Like you can just access your account or wallet, but literally is not yours anymore, right? And then versus a decentralized exchange where let's say the safety is not that much in place, but you are in 100% control. So for the one that wants to put, let's say, his first $100 right now, which one do you think is the right path of coming in?
Absolutely centralized exchanges to start with, right? We want to remove the sophistication. Crypto can still be difficult. It's still complex. You have to observe the right security precautions if you're creating your own wallet. You have to understand that you then own those keys, and if you lose them, then you may not be able to recover your assets, right? So you need that third party centralized exchange at the offset. So that's how you learn about it. It's always with investments as well. You don't truly track it until you invest. Paper trading isn't the same as actually having an interest in it. And so definitely the steps are there. And I think there's an amalgamation of both, right? Like DeFi is great for certain assets, and centralized exchanges are better for others. It's the same as if you go shopping, right? You can go to a big shop and buy stuff from that centralized shop, or you can go to Bizzle or any other classified ad and buy the similar product, and then you start to see the same differences, right? Like, are you sure it's real? Once you know it's real, what's the history behind it? Like, so
Yeah.
When you go to a centralized exchange, the exchange fees you're paying. You're not going to get slippage on gas. You're not going to get concerned that you missed the market. It's much more transparent and easy for people coming in. And as people then develop and then they read Binance Academy and they understand a little bit more about the asset class, they can develop and go off there. We have like categories of tokens. We talk about compute tokens, store of value tokens. We talk about real world asset oracles. And so, you can build an investment thesis and a window to crypto through the centralized exchange. And then later, if you want to go explore DeFi, and Binance has just released a Web3 wallet, which allows you to access DeFi. So, it ports onto your centralized exchange. So it's exactly what you're talking about, like learning with a centralized exchange, and then say, right, I'm now sufficiently capitalized with the information, and then you create your Web3 wallet. And so you create the wallet, and then it prompts you to then say, right, you need to now take ownership of the keys if you want to use this.
Yeah.
And then you take that, and then you can start interacting with DeFi products.
It's like learning to ride the bike, and you have those extra wheels, right?
Yeah.
So then once you're in the right balance, equilibrium working well, then you can just ride by yourself and go explore other, DeFi products or something.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a fast-moving industry, and the technology is really early still, and so it's getting there. But you definitely need to be cautious, and you definitely need to experiment. You need to sort of test and interact at your own pace, not anyone else's pace. So
Yes.
that's the key there.
What's now the ratio of new wallets? Like keep opening the new wallets.
So I believe the new Web3 wallets, I think there's about 5 million new wallets were released. I was on a call last week. And so it's happening more. I mean, I understood.
Is this an indicator that you look at when you want to predict a little bit the market, like what's going on?
Everyone's looking at it. So I remember, Ethereum got to like 1 million wallets or 1 million active wallets in the last couple of weeks. And so people are coming back, right? People are starting to interact again, engaging in the ecosystem. We've just seen a load of airdrops from Solana. And again, it's sort of the cusp, the prices are moving up. So there's a little bit more excitement. People are a little bit happier than they were when prices are going down. And projects are starting to mature. We've got the projects that were sort of mature in the last bull cycle that have carried on, weathered the winter. And we've had projects that have started during the down period of prices, and these are now starting to become like MVP products, or as I say, they're starting to airdrop to their communities, and so we're starting to sort of expand at that now, and we're seeing a lot of excitement.
At the company level, what do you think Binance did so well and right that became with almost 50% market share right now?
For me, it's the user focus. It's giving people what they wanted, and that's how it grew the market segment. It became, as you said, they added services, they added tokens, they added everything. So it became like the super app. Before maybe before the exchanges were a bit smaller, and you'd have to sign up to each specific exchange to do quite a lot. I think Binance first understood that you wanted to get as much in as possible, and they ran it well. And then just keeping focused on what clients wanted, and security is a big one as well. With the Safu fund, Binance got hacked. I think it was in 2019, and it was business as usual, and then it continued. And that really gave a lot of confidence to people using the exchange, right? When exchanges lose confidence, that's terrible for the exchange, right? They sort of die out. But with that confidence and that user safety and focus, it's really been the sort of winning attributes.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of the interface as well. I mean, as a user of Binance applications, I found it so easy to navigate inside of the ecosystem through the app. You can literally place your bets instantly from 3 clicks, 3 buttons. So I think this one, it was, and I don't want to move from that, right? I can open accounts in all other exchanges, but I keep the main ones on Binance because it's just a matter of being comfortable. Like I get used so much with the interface, and it's just the comfort is there right now, and that's the hardest way to move. When you became comfortable with something, it's very hard to take that person from there. So I think from my perspective as a user, this one, it was a major point as well. The interface is so easy to play with.
Yeah, and I think we definitely understand that and try and reward like participation and try and keep people interacting with the wallet, right? So bringing in new features that people wanted, and say the Web3 wallet was a big one, right? Because people were starting to really yearn to use DeFi, but use the same app and have like the majority of their assets in certain places. And then this allows you like that seamless transition from creating your Web3 wallet with your keys, keeping your assets there, but then being able to move back and forth onto the exchange in a very like seamless, user-friendly fashion. Yeah, totally. The role of Binance is really like to reduce the sophistication of using crypto, and the app is there, right?
Yeah.
So this is a paramount importance.
Yeah. as the major player in the industry, of course you have 100 ropes at least in your hands. To pay attention, all the details. You need to be aware about actually everything, right? We are around two major events right now in the industry. One is the halving, right, which is about April somewhere, and the next one is the super oversold narrative with ETF, right? How does the company prepare in terms of, okay, the big funds are coming in, right? And BlackRock and all these big guys. Like, what do you think will be the impact?
Well, so like it's definitely price positive, because there's a scarcity issue of Bitcoin, and so there's two things to sort of talk about. The ETF feature is giving traditional finance a access point they're familiar with into the funds. And so all their risk compliance, fiduciary departments all understand how ETFs work. They understand what it is, and that gives them the channel to invest. No one is debating modern portfolio theory. Asset diversification increases your risk-free returns. No one debates that. So whether you're a crypto person or not, they understand that mechanism. So I think that driver is key. And then with institutions, in the last few years, there have been more speculative institutions trading proprietary capital. They understand they can make money, so that they enter the market. They understand their risks. They try and mitigate whatever the perceived risks are, but they're doing it. With these other institutions now coming in, the compliance language that we speak now matches the banks, right? So we go talk to the risk department, and again, whenever we're talking to FIs, financial institutions, sometimes we have to sign NDAs, and then they might ask for our risk register. They might ask for all these docs. We prepare them in the same manner. We all used to work in financial services, so we understand. And then the people on the other side, they look at this and they're good. So we're sort of leveling up all our compliance. We're leveling up our technology to match the standards that everyone's ready for. And we're definitely seeing the institutions wanting to come in this cycle. You're seeing big banks in the UAE as well, so now talking about how they're going to give the crypto to their...
They started taking consideration right now, right?
Yeah. All the regulators now talk about crypto here.
Yeah.
The leadership here was very pragmatic and went for Web3 before everyone was saying Web3. They had the Metaverse strategy like before Facebook was called Meta, I think. They're really pushing for this. They're really pushing for a new economy. They see the value it can bring to the country, increase GDP, increase population. These are what we're trying to drive here. Here we have the ability and the flexibility to be innovative. Maybe in other jurisdictions that there's too much legacy and too much decision making, and so I think they'll miss out on this Web3 bubble.
Yeah, this is we are coming to exactly the question that I want to address you. Like, what did you find here exactly in the UAE as a landscape? And when you said, okay, we want to start operating here, I think the region has a huge potential, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what was the feedback from the leaders, and how did approach this part?
So CZ came to the region, and he spoke with a lot of the senior leaders here of the country, and was really drew a lot of comfort from the conversations. Not only did they know about blockchain, like Dubai had a blockchain initiative since 2016. So, very well versed in not just crypto, but blockchain, how it's a technology that can be transformative, and they'd started planning from there. And then seeing the leadership of the UAE wanted to build a hub, and the willingness and the ability to do it. So like some of the ability is, the infrastructure here, the space. We have, I think, around 600 people from Binance in Dubai, and there's very few places you can go and suddenly have that number of people. I mean, you're
It's a
gonna
big logistic behind. isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So being given the surety and seeing the leadership here making a decision, pushing for Web3, pushing for blockchain, pushing to increase the GDP. We've now got D33 here in Dubai.
Awesome.
And they want to double up their GDP, and one of the tracks is Web3. So with that surety, again going back to what we talked about at the start, when you have a big company, you need to see where you're going in the future. You can't have such a short-sighted view. So the government here allowed CZ and the founders to say, right, this is a place to put down a big footprint, and we can plan for the future, and we can plan for a profitable, expansive future here.
Absolutely, yes. What was the hardest license to get so far? I mean, I know you manage the region here, but as per your information right now, and was that any part of any country or something that they were just get out of here? I don't want to-
No, so I mean, I can really only talk
Yeah.
specifically
Okay,
about here,
yeah.
but all the regulators have nuances, but the main thing to understand about regulators is they're mainly after client protection, consumer protection. And so Binance, we're aligned like this as well. Again, we talk about user
Yeah,
funds,
yeah.
transparency, protecting infrastructure. We're aligned with that. So for
Are
each,
those the first questions that you get immediately right on the spot? Like, what are the top three things that you need to have in place when you apply for, let's say, in a totally new market?
so that's such an expansive question, right?
Yeah.
So like Vara here is crypto only regulator. So all of their questions are very much tailored to our business. Other jurisdictions like ADGM in Abu Dhabi was an existing regulator before that added in crypto as a product.
Okay.
And so they will then ask their traditional questions first, and then go to how crypto
the crypto
works.
part, yeah.
Whereas in Dubai with Vara, it's about crypto to start with, but it is about protecting clients, protecting consumers. That's the main mandate, and so all of the questions that you get that you need to answer are like that, and maybe certain specific regulators in other jurisdictions
Yeah.
might have a slightly different view on each of these things, but it all goes down there. So I think always when we're sort of aligning with regulators, it's sort of right. Discuss, right? We both want user safety. We both want consumer protection. This is how we think we achieve it, and why, right? So again, this is the same in traditional finance, right? You have to declare the risk, and then explain how you mitigate that risk, and then you show there's now a diminished charge to that risk, but it's not risk-free. But you work to mitigate all those risks. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah. I mean, as an exchange by default, right? It's a unbelievable, beautiful tool to make a lot of money if you want to, as an exchange, right? As a market maker, all those kind of things. Have you been approached by, let's say, as a country level or any other entities? Okay, let's do some money together first, and then we'll see how the things are going, and then you can come in the market. Is this kind of approach?
No, I think we spend time working with the regulators as an ecosystem, right? So we are the biggest, not just exchange, but the Web3 ecosystem, and I guess alignment with us and the regulators is just net beneficial for GDP, because you've seen what's happened here in Dubai. It's now the crypto hub, right? There's
Absolutely.
lots and lots of other entities that have now come here to set up, and so it's the network effect that they're interested in, or like we're all interested in, right? Like, how can we work together to build the community and the ecosystem? So, and you need to have both, right? You can't just have all big players. You need to have small players. It's to make it healthy. Like each size of like smaller funds, bigger funds, medium funds, and then you have developers, then you have infrastructure play, apps. They all need to come, and then once you have everyone together, that's the network effect that thrives and builds, and goes back to why we're here. This is a great environment. It's connected very well to almost 2 billion people within, I think, 6-hour flights. There's no problem with housing. There's no problem with visas and immigration. So you can quickly build here and get people here to build and access a vast share of the market. And so that's beneficial.
So in the back end, the opportunity is so big that you don't need to even think about any other stuff. Anything is not related to the business development in the region is too small, right? It really doesn't matter. It became so small at any amount because, as you mentioned, coming in front of 2 billion people with this huge audience behind, right? And you have this large stamp of trust if you build so far, right, in the industry, and you come at the table with all these assets. Obviously, the opportunity is, at the very, very large scale.
It's massive. I think Richard was saying we've got about 160 million users. Yeah. So, compared to 2 billion, compared to the social networks, compare it to X, compare it to Meta, like it's still tiny. Yeah. We feel like it's big because we're involved in this, and you see it, and you live it, you breathe it, you sleep it. But it's still a very small fraction. It's such a small fraction. There's so much room to grow. And again, this is what attracted us to the region. This is a great place to sort of settle, to grow, and to
Is Binance going to attack this area in a social media kind of engagement? Because I've seen that you have developed products with you can open your own account, you can have posts, you can have share articles, all these kind of things. So is Binance going to aim to eat a little bit from the social media companies?
I think that's one of the directions that we're looking at. So there's a product called Binance Square, which is the one you're talking about, right? And so that used to be called Binance Feed. It got renamed, but it's about adding value to the application, right? It's like adding extra info, adding extra engagement, added utility to the app, so you keep using it, and it's reciprocal, right? These are the things. There's one of the tenets of Web3, right? Like it's reciprocality of engagement. So by giving the user a bit more, they give more to the app, and then it adds. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't seen the product roadmap for that particular one, but yeah, for sure, it's as you say.
At one point, I think the product itself, the exchange, will become maybe less than 20% of the company, something like that.
Well, it should do.
It's going to be a good strategy, right?
Yeah, if you want to build a big, healthy business, you need to diversify your revenue streams, and you need to sort of
product concentration risk, right?
Yeah. So not just the person. Now it's the exchange, right? One step at a time. We're improving.
So will I be able to trade in the Metaverse?
So that's the idea, right? Bringing assets across, bringing identity across. So you have your wallet in one Metaverse, and you build up a reputation, you build up some assets, and then being able to come to a new Metaverse with some of those attributes. It's I think it's going to be gaming led. Because gamers are familiar with sort of the Metaverse ultra world concept, and they are now used to sort of transacting as well, like buying and selling attributes or like skins and things like this. And so I think the gaming sector will lead this. And so who knows? Maybe there'll be wallets in GTA 6 or whatever the one is coming out.
Absolutely, it's coming next year. And anyway, they destroy all the records, like in terms of views and stuff. Is just the tension they build. Is the expectations are so high. So that's another way of looking at the gaming industry. Which I am a huge fan of it. I think gaming only can become totally independent, and anything Bitcoin can go to whatever at one point. Crypto gaming will be there. It's just a massive industry. Again, I want to go in terms of we've been talking about metaverse here, right? So we touch a little bit. When you see this kind of absolutely brand new markets, right, and maybe will come in place literally after 5 years, right, as a consume level, right, to use exactly consume the product. Is Binance positioning in absorbing this? The entire ecosystem in terms of projects. Like, is this a priority for you right now to onboard as many tokens as possible, as many projects as possible in the metaverse because it's coming and it's huge, or is okay, I want to see what's happening, and what's the strategy behind?
We're definitely more conservative now. As you say, we're the leader, and we need to lead by example. And so with listing, it's we're taking more mature products than previous years, right? So before there are a lot of smaller projects, but because we are the market leader and we have these volumes, we need to take more mature products. So generally tokens will be distributed in some sort of token generation event, and then they'll go on a couple of dexes and a few more dexes, and then a couple of smaller exchanges, and then work its way up. So that's the way it needs to be.
In the back end, you look at this entire journey of the token, how it did perform in a certain dexes. There is any traction, okay, we can now take in consideration to have it as well.
Yeah, so I mean,
nice one.
Number of users that are engaging with the token, right? So going back to what we are, we're user focused. So we want to see token projects with lots of users on the product. We want to sort of see a really defined use case. Gone are the days where there's a sort of ill-defined use case of a token. We need to really see that. And then once it's mature and has liquidity on the other exchanges, then it gets to the point where it's sort of good for us to list.
So I can look at Binance like a Real Madrid club, right? When Real Madrid they don't buy players right from the third league in Belgium, whatever, right? So they wait for the player to join a top European league first, this player has to become a goal getter, has his own contribution in the football, right?
Yeah.
Have a great season or something, prove that is working, and then is potentially can become transferred to Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. Yeah, that's definitely the way it works.
Because we have seen that is even harder to reach Binance right now as a token. I mean, obviously we are in the industry, and landing on Binance definitely is a stamp behind your project that is confirmed, certified, legit builders, right? Is not we completely remove the scam part or whatever, right? So now I understand from you that it's a process behind that. You did this with intention. Yeah. To actually filter out even more, and you're more strict with, and I think is the right way, right? Because the industry has to become more serious.
It allows us to, there's more due diligence done on the product by that point, and I guess then it's a testament to Binance holding user focus and user safety paramount, right? And again, that perpetuates that trust. So that's why we need to act in a way like this, because there's what's the saying, you can take years to build trust, but only a moment to lose it, right? So this is something that we hold dear.
Do you have any certain percentages that you might split your portfolio? Like say, okay, Metaverse is coming, but not like literally you play like an investor. Like you say, okay, risk portfolio, I'll put 5% of my funds, and then we'll go.
Not for Binance
like this?
listing.
Okay.
No. I mean, that's how that's how I invest in projects. I personally do. I try to diversify and have a few of the sort of high cap stock, high cap cryptos, and then move down the curve a little bit more, and then have like thematic viewpoints on certain products. Like gaming
Yes.
or Metaverse or oracles. These
Kind of mix, yeah.
like NFTs. You want to look at the full ecosystem. And again, we've seen this in traditional finance, right? This is why Warren Buffett always argues that the fund managers can't outpick the index tracker. So you shouldn't think you're smarter than the index, right? So diversify and make correct risk adjusted decisions.
I think we all of us, we underestimate the power of not doing mistakes at the beginning, and then playing in a very, let's say, smart way, right? But the compound effect of not put yourself in position to do mistakes is this effect is way larger than just be super vertical at one point and take smart decision, because that will just put you in a safe place and you are able to be part of the ecosystem and be liquid at the end, right? In more time. So that's going to be a huge advantage for you.
You need to just be careful, distribute your investments in that sort of manner.
I mean, in the back end, this is kind of the strategy that you use as a company, right? Like you look at those investments when you onboard tokens literally as an investment, right? Somehow, because it's your name attached to the project, right?
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of due diligence is done at that point.
Absolutely.
And then, again, we need to be mindful of what people want to trade in, right? So if there becomes a new sort of vertical within crypto that people want to trade, we'll have to go and find the right assets to list that we're comfortable with and we can allow the clients to trade on. So,
but in the same time, we see project like, for example, Celestia, right? Is an infrastructure blockchain, and they literally attack this part, the very technical part, being a modular blockchain, so on, right? Literally a different angle, right? In building products. They are just straight away on Binance.
They start in 2019.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the project is not new for everyone out there who just heard about Celestia. They've been building for solid years by now.
So these guys started in 2019, right? So, that's 5 years ago, or coming up to 5 years. So it seems like that. I mean, I agree with you. Like, not too many people are talking about the modular blockchains, and then that's popped into everyone's viewpoint. And then obviously, when the price actions like that, people talk about it much more. But there's others. But I mean, I think we're going back to what we started with. 2024 we're gonna see these new projects coming up, because we're at that point in the cycle. People have been building for 18 months, maybe 2 years. And so, we're going to start to see new names, because maybe after the last sort of bull run, at the end, maybe they exited a project, maybe they've moved away from different projects and they started again. And, this is what everyone was talking about for the bear time, is to build and build. And, then they'll become apparent. So I guess
What's your approach? Like, what do you think for the 2024? Like, what do you expect as a company, and also as an individual level? Do you think we are going to face recession based on those numbers? And because on a very back end, the things are not really pink, right? And the macroeconomy and certain things, they reach a certain point with inflation and stuff, but still some key elements, they don't look good at all, right? So we might face this recession, or it's just a matter of fake it till elections and then we'll see the real dinosaur coming.
With an election, the US election next year, it's hard to see how the economy is going to be let to fail, right? So that's just how I've seen every sort of 4-year market cycle. But Binance, we want to to grow user base, right? That's the key. It's driving adoption, driving crypto adoption. For the last event season here in Dubai, everyone's talking about real world assets on blockchains. The banks were talking about this as well, and so I think we see that next year. I think through the first half of the year, a few more projects going live and people utilizing it. And then I think the tail end of next year will be more Web3 and more digital identity. I think a few of these dApps will have come out. We've seen a couple of the social networks. They're still not great. And so, I think another 6 months of maybe a couple of new projects, a few new ideas, a bit more development. We'll see that sort of growing out for the tail end of next year.
Do you think it's a matter of having all the time a narrative behind in the market? Like, for example, now there are these two narratives, right? Like the ETF and the halving. Okay, but the halving will go away, right? We will pass the halving in April, and also the ETF at one point has to be yes or no.
Yeah.
So what's after?
In my opinion, the reason this is the case is because it's still a new technology that hasn't been adopted by everyone yet, and we haven't seen it being utilized in a way that you can't see the technology. Right, and what I mean by that is, is using the end app without caring that blockchain and crypto and transactions and signing things and gas and all these complexities are taken away, and you just get an app that works great and does what you want. And so
you have no idea what blockchain is behind and whatever.
What technology, So as I say, the reason why we hear narratives is because it's still in idea phase, right? We're still trying to learn. We know what blockchain can be used for, but it hasn't been adopted, right? And so it's a collaborative experiment of everyone pushing their ideas and trying to come together to crack some of these problems, right? Blockchain can't solve all problems, and especially 5 years ago, blockchains were really slow. We now have some fast blockchains, which, things like Solana, where they changed the narrative a little bit. They have really bulky nodes to do it. Then we've got Ethereum upgrade coming out next year of sharding. So we're starting to solve these problems, but, we need to all talk together and find what are the problems we're trying to fix, and then hopefully a few of the smartest ones of us will fix it. So that's why you hear that narrative. It's not. I don't think you hear that in other industries because they're a little bit more mature. But here we're still problem solving.
Yeah, of course. And in a very back end, the infrastructure has to be in place before everything. Mm-hmm. Like that's the solid foundation that we build on, right?
Yeah.
Coming back to the region here, we all know that the big exchange has been launched in the region by Abu Dhabi based, right? M2.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the vision of Binance when you see a potential big player coming in the market like this? Like, are you repositioning your strategy, or is just a matter of no problem, let's build together?
Definitely the latter. I mean, going back to the number of people that use social networks and other apps and other trading venues, there's so much room for everyone that, it'd be counterproductive to directly battle. There's so much blue sky with these products and with the population here that, again, it's better to collaborate. It's better to sort of talk and find frustrations. I'm sure, and all the different exchanges maintain accounts on other exchanges to see what they're doing, right? Again,
of course,
to see how problems are solved.
Scanning your competitors it's a must.
Yeah,
in business.
Just to see as well, like good ideas, bad ideas, things you like, things you don't like, and then as each of the exchanges, the Web3 ecosystems grow, maybe their demographic grows, right? Maybe they have a different demographic. So, what works for Binance might not work for another competitor. So, it's much more it's much more complex than that. But at the same time, we're still so early that there's no
Is this
fight
a
for
general
real estate.
rule of the company, or is just based on the region here? Because as we all know, the rules are different here, so it's better not to have them as enemies, right? It's just a matter of it's better for us to be friendly, right? Or it's just a matter of the vision behind the company disregard the market.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Let's build together, right?
Yeah, it's definitely that, right?
Okay.
It just goes back to this. So
I mean, at one
So it's
point where
lit-
you are present in the market, and you have maybe 70% shares or whatever, right? In some certain countries, like, are you still pay attention to number two, or is just okay? He can do what they can do, whatever they want. It really doesn't matter.
yeah, I mean,
They're too small.
it's more about us improving our product. We'll look at competitors to see how their product is, and whether we can take ideas or build on. But for us, it's just about growing the space. There's not too much sort of rivalries like this. It's we're in a position in crypto where everyone's got a wallet, everyone's got exchange accounts, but going back to that, you walk into a place probably outside of Dubai. I think Dubai is a little bit saturated with crypto, but you can go to different countries and people are still not aware of crypto. Yeah, it's
Yes,
some-
of course,
some of my-
absolutely. Yeah.
some of the people I went to school with don't know what Binance is. So people ask me what I do, and I say I work at Binance. They're like, "What's that?" And so
Yeah, for you it's kind of
something that I live and breathe and see all day, every
Yeah.
day, and but the whole industry people don't know about. So
Yeah, indeed. I want to touch another aspect as an individual for you, right? Like, how do you stay updated with the insane volume of knowledge, and at your position, your responsibilities are super. You're in charge for some nice ones, right? So how do you stay in touch with this speed of development in terms of knowledge?
since taking my role at Binance, it's less than I'd like. Because, as I say, I have one sort of net responsibilities to running the exchange, everything else. But for my crypto knowledge, I have a few different Telegram groups where there's always a flood of tweets or projects, and where I have time, I'll click through and read. Crypto Twitter. It gets ahead of itself sometimes, but it's interesting just to see. And it's almost like a news stream. I have like on Telegram.
Take the pulse, right?
Take the pulse.
Yeah.
See what names are coming through a few times. Especially I have like 4 or 5 different Telegram chats, and if I see a project like ping across a couple of them, it might be interesting. I'll spend some time and have a look. And then I think most people at Binance are pretty passionate about crypto. So it's nice. There's a couple of guys in the office that we'll once a week go sit next to, like, have you seen this project? Have you seen this? And we'll talk to each other about it to sort of build up our knowledge. But starting with Telegram and the sort of notifications from that's where I do my reading.
I'm curious about one thing in terms of efficiency, because at one point we or our entrepreneurs, or maybe our audience who is watching, they run their own businesses, right? Or they want to, they start their own business at your scale. And people should understand the dimension of your position inside of the Binance and importance. For example, how do you prioritize your tasks? If you have 3 crucial tasks, but in the same time another one which is like suddenly something happened, right? And is in that circle, red circle, that you have to take action immediately. How do you handle with all these things, and how do you prioritize those tasks to be efficient with them?
For the entity I look after, FZE, that's my main responsibility is choosing the order of how we do things, and then the The second thing is really building a strong team that you can trust and handing things to. And so that becomes like tough when you have the experience to handle all these products and these problems, but then start handing them off. And that's, when I got to a point, when I worked at smaller firms where I could do everything myself, or at least have a hand in everything. Now getting to a point where I have to just hand things off. I look at the problem or whatever, bundle it up, decide who needs to take care of it, and then push it off and go to the next one. And then you need to understand at what sort of cadence you go back and just check to make sure it's running okay.
Because then it's a matter of a right communication, right? Because when you are yourself, okay, I got it perfect, done, right?
Yeah.
I did it in my internal understanding. Don't need to say it or something, right? But then you need to communicate that in terms of be understandable in a certain way for others.
Yeah, and so that was a big
skill.
Yeah, and that was a big learning experience coming through and sort of understanding and getting used to just handing work off and saying, right, like, get this done, come back to me if there's a problem here, and then you go to the next one, and then you got to keep up, like looking at each of these problems and make sure that none of them slip through the cracks, make sure there's no unforeseen issues, and I think that's the step that I've got to now, where I'm lucky enough that I can hand things off without needing to sort of get involved. I don't like micromanaging.
So you have these valuable people around.
I do have some very valuable
awesome,
people. Yeah.
Alex, what's your passion? Like things that you like to do in your spare time?
I used to play a lot of basketball, not so much more. My buddy messaged, and he used to play basketball with a Serbian guy at the weekend, actually. And he's like, why don't we see you anymore playing basketball? But I've got a great crypto project. He wants to put, he's here in Dubai, and he wants to do a project about property on blockchain. So I'm like, yeah, happy to go do that. And then I love like water sports. We're lucky enough here, we're by the sea, so if the weather's perfect at the moment, and so you can just run out at any point. So outdoors.
Do you still have time for those things?
Not as much as I want. I bought my wife a wing foil and a hydrofoil, and it sat there for a while. Like all the kids are ill. We're busy. It's Christmas, but next week she's got it off, so I'm going to make sure I push her to do that. So we're quite active family. We like just getting out and doing things, and I sit in front of a desk all day at work, and then as soon as it's gone, get out and have fun.
When do you have more time for your family, in the bear market or bull market?
Well, great question. I don't think that's the driver. Yes, depends on what's happening at work rather than
it was like prices. A bear market where actually you are in charge even more to bring projects, solid ones, which are not very common being bear market. Or when everything is just chaos, right? Almost
different sets of priorities.
Exactly, Alex, thank you very much for coming today to Iron Capital Talks. I'm super grateful. Valuable insights indeed for a great leader like you. And thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me, Danny. Cheers.
Thank you guys for watching. And please drop us a comment. How did you find our episode today? Don't forget to subscribe if you consider. You can find us on all major platforms, Iron Capital News. And see you on the next one. Thank you very much.